There's been a ferocious debate that's raged on in the gaming community for a long time about trying to identify who is the stupidest individual in the entire industry. And I think most people have kind of agreed that it has to be John Riccitiello. He was the former Unity CEO who nearly led that company to the grave, nearly sinking a massive business through some of the worst business acumen I've seen since Mr. Krabs tried to charge for breathing. Also, speaking of charging for breathing, John Riccitiello really took some notes out of that playbook because he's also the former EA head who pitched the idea of potentially charging per reload. So this ghoul's name lives in infamy. He's like the gaming industry's Morbius. He just keeps coming up with flops and creatively failing. However, with the catastrophic blunder from Escape from Tarkov, a new name has entered the conversation for stupidest man in the video games industry: Nikita of Battlestate Games. So I covered this a couple days ago. Pretty much everyone has because it's been a huge deal, even outside of the Escape from Tarkov community. It's just an example of the worst parts of gaming with unbelievable, unchecked greed, misleading their community, fundamentally scamming their players, and a lot of shady shit that's also been going on at BSG here. And all of it over the last few days has served to kind of act like Chaozu on Nappa, just self-destructing this entire fucking company. So there's been two major updates that I just want to cover because it seems like Nikita has recognized the disaster that has unfolded here, and he is finally biting his pride, swallowing his ego, and trying to put out the fire that he has caused. So he's made some brief statements on it where he really wanted to stick to his guns and puff out his chest, fucking lat spreading here and refusing to move like a strong oak tree. No matter how much, controversy comes, hell or high water, he's not budging. That was like the hardball he tried to play initially. Then he was singing a little bit of a different tune when he dropped this update yesterday. He said, "Hello again. Let me clarify the situation in a little more detail regarding owners of the EOD version and access to the cooperative mode, and also other issues. First of all, PvE game mode, this is not DLC. DLC, in my understanding, is the major additions to the game, including variations, functionality, and content that are released after the official release of the game as a themed DLC pack. Scav Life DLC, for example, which will add a lot of new mechanics and content for Scav gameplay and leveling." This is horseradish. This is like trying to argue that a poop is not a shit. It makes no sense whatsoever. You're just getting into these outrageous, mental gymnastics to try and explain why it's not DLC, even though by every possible definition, it is. And the reason this is so important, in case you're not caught up with the lore, is owners of the EOD edition were promised all future DLC for free. They paid a lot of money for EOD, and were promised future DLC will be free. However, with the Unheard edition, it was not going to be free. They were still charging $250, thus the EOD owners would still have to pay the extra money to upgrade to that, which goes against what was advertised for the EOD edition, which you can't do. That's misleading advertisement. You're fucking lying. You're fundamentally scamming with that. So he's trying very hard to come out of this squeaky clean with an explanation that no, it's not DLC. The Unheard edition, this is super different, not DLC. Thus, we don't have to play by our own rules that we set here. It's dumb. It's fucking stupid. Nikita does some more whippets here and continues saying, "Secondly, the specific functionality of the PvE mode is necessarily located entirely on a separate network infrastructure because, essentially, you play on our servers only in closed mode. At this stage, it's not possible to launch all players who are EOD holders. We don't have the required resources." He goes on to basically say they recognized everyone was super unhappy with this shit and they were tired of getting spit on for it, so they're going to be giving the PvE mode to all EOD version owners for free at the release of the game, when the server infrastructure will be improved to required capacity, also offering a 50% discount when upgrading to the Unheard version from EOD. Then they're also giving a Left Behind edition key to everyone who's already upgraded to the Unheard edition at the old price. And then goes on to say, more so that any player of any version of EFT can have the opportunity to test the PvE mode. We want to add the ability to purchase a separate early access to this mode. For EOD owners, there will be a 70% discount on the purchase of early access to PvE. It would be interesting to hear your thoughts on this idea. Next, regarding special items for the Unheard version, we plan to make restrictive or balancing changes for these items. This is it for now. Please share your thoughts. Thank you. Hey, Nikita, I'm sharing my thoughts. This isn't good enough. Where's hey, I'm sorry for being a greedy asshole. Where's that in this whole statement? Where's the, hey guys, look, I'm kind of a stupid idiot, you know? I've been huffing that moron juice for a little too long and I saw too many dollar bills on the table, so I made a dumb decision. Where's like the level of accountability for this? It's a terrible, 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 terrible decision that you see had a horrible effect on your game and it made you panic. He's been desperately trying to lessen the blowback here while also not apologizing for anything, like not admitting that it was a mistake, but he's still not doing nearly enough at all. Like, I'm sharing my thoughts here, Nikita. I think you're a goober. I think you're a stupid goober. There's still pay-to-win, huge game-changing features being offered here. It is still pay-to-win. Like, he states that they're going to do some more balancing around it. It's vague, but, like, how about you just remove them? Just get rid of them. Like, people are fine with cosmetics. Like, take a temperature of your community. It seems like 99% would prefer if they were just cosmetics that you get here as opposed to pay-to-win items. Also, I don't even know why I'm like harping on this one because he did make another update, but I'm just still so shocked at this one that he thought this would be enough. It's not. And most sensible people called him out on it, saying that, nah, this just isn't going to fucking cut it. This isn't going to save Tarkov from what you've done here. So he came back 9 hours ago with this. Greetings. I love the way he starts this, just making it sound like he's super enthusiastic. Like, he's got that holly jolly spirit running through his veins right now. He can't wait. He's got a big old smile on his face. Even though I know that's not the case, that greetings can't hide the tears behind the keyboard that he's typing from. Let me continue my feedback on the current situation. First of all, I would like to say that I am very sorry that fans in the game community in general are experiencing these feelings. Unfortunately, I somehow did not foresee the fact of such a reaction, and now I have drawn conclusions for my future decisions. Unironically dropping a, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's impressive. That's such a non-apology off rip. This dude just can't. He cannot admit that he made a huge fuck up here. He can't admit that the core idea of charging 250 clams for a DLC and then absolutely butt-fucking everyone who grabbed your EOD edition is bad. The only thing he's taking accountability for is not foreseeing the community's reactions, which blows my mind because I don't know how you wouldn't see that coming unless your eyes are just closed. I don't know. He just puts like $100 bills over his eyes and closes himself off to the world. I don't know how you wouldn't expect that. But the only thing he's apologizing for is that people were upset at the situation. He's basically just like, hey, I didn't think you guys would be upset about being scammed. That's a head scratcher. Man, that's so weird. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't think you guys were so fucking sensitive about being charged $250 and being lied to for this scam. Sorry how you feel that way, I guess. It's just a classic non-apology. Now I'll briefly summarize the main points. 1. About PvE access, we decided to just open it for EOD owners for free, but we will do it in waves. And as I said before, we don't have the server capacity right now. We will start this process as soon as possible. So he's finally caving and just saying, you know what? Alright, all EOD owners, we're doing it, and we're doing it in waves. We'll do it live. No mention on the frequency of those waves. I saw the comment section was still eating him alive, saying, I bet those waves are every 6 months, referencing the initial compromise where he's like, okay, we'll give you a free trial of 6 months. So it could still be that, I suppose. He's just changing the wording around it. 2, we also decided that we will add mod support for PvE mode after the release of the game, which is pretty fucking big from what I understand here. 3. About the Unheard Edition. We will not remove it. We want to keep the option for those who want to support the game more, but we will balance items, perks in this edition, as well as we will provide more rewards for those who upgraded with the old price. If that's more pay-to-win items, I'm actually going to squeal. We're going to provide more rewards for those who upgraded. Here's some more pay-to-win. That would actually have me squealing. But he's just referencing that the community knows this is all pay-to-win, so they're going to be balancing it. The best way of balancing that, Nikita, is to take that shit out. People don't want that in their games. No one wants to pay for an advantage or play a game where people can pay for an advantage over those who don't. It sucks. It's terrible for the health of your game. So just fucking remove it and replace those bonuses with cool cosmetics or something like that. Something that doesn't drastically change the game or even really change it in any way would be optimal. Just purely cosmetic shit would be preferable. 4. New EOD perks will be balanced too. We will remove prioritized matching option to keep everyone in the same spot, and we will add more unique stuff to highlight the EOD version in the game in general. We will provide the final list of the new EOD perks ASAP. This one's huge because they're getting rid of one of the most alarming features they were touting, which was prioritized matchmaking through paying 250 fucking doubloons. So they're like, okay, we'll just get rid of that. That's good. That is just good, no matter how you look at that. Thankfully, they're getting rid of it. It's really concerning that they were even toying around. Well, not even toying around. It's really concerning that they were actually going to go through with the idea of introducing a prioritized matchmaking feature to this game. That is a huge red flag. But it's going bye-bye now, so the community is just going to have to trust that in the future, Nikita won't try and pull some shit like that again. I don't know how you'd ever have trust in this guy at the helm of this company going forward, but that's not for me to decide. That's going to be for individual players. And 5, we continue to work on patches, new content events, and the game release itself no matter what. Thank you for your time, love, and hate, and thank you for your increased attention to the current situation, Nick. Hey, no problem at all, Nick. I'm always happy to insult greedy little assholes like you. So, the community's response to this one has been much more positive because they are directly addressing some of the bigger problems and introducing their solutions to it. Now, they are not budging on the $250 price, which I am still upset about, even as someone who was never going to buy it. I hate the precedent that sets. If a lot of people buy $250 DLC, obviously, other games are going to be taking note of that and seeing how far they can push these prices and also how closely they can tap dance on this line. Because Nikita right now is unironically a pioneer. He is stepping on every possible landmine of greed, so that way every other video game company can take notes of what communities will and will not accept. So he's doing a lot of guinea pigging for the entire industry right now, and it makes me a little concerned going forward. Another thing that's absent from this update is addressing the fact that they lied. Like, point blank, lied. And they also tried to sneakily change shit on their website to hide that fact. No mention of that at all, and that's super scummy. So I do think that's something that they really need to continue to be grilled on. And thankfully they still are. I did mention that it has been more positively received, but it's not by everybody, of course. There are too many people that feel betrayed by this company, and they don't want to continue to support this. If they can't trust the developer down the line to not try and fuck their wallet again, why are they going to continue to invest time into this game and money? It wouldn't make sense. So a lot of people are leaving for sure, and a lot of people are still calling out these facts that not everything is, sunshine and unicorns here. Like, it's not really a full win or anything like that. It's just better in a bad situation that was made out of it. In the comment section, he did reply to a really important question where a user said, "You have still not addressed the fact you are planning to release DLC for the game that was not going to be delivered to EOD owners. Please confirm that EOD owners will receive all content for the game in the future as promised when we purchase the product." And he responded saying, "Yes, EOD owners will receive all of the DLCs." So I don't know if this is him slyly finally falling on his own sword here and admitting that the Unheard Edition is DLC. It is DLC. No matter how much he's tried to argue the opposite, I think this is finally him just eating shit on it and saying that, yes, it is DLC, thus we will make good on our promise that EOD owners will get it for free. However, a comment that replied under his made a really good point, that this is only applicable until they try and make an argument again in the future about how their newest DLC is actually not DLC. So I agree with that user that there is a good chance that fast forward a year, 2 years, however long from now, when Tarkov's got another major version coming out here, a new major content delivery, he might try something similar about, this one's really not DLC, so EOD owners will not be receiving this one for free. You will need to pay for the upgrade, all that hoopla again. Go through this entire song and dance once more. I do think it's possible, but I have no idea. Maybe Nikita put his hand on the stove, realized it's hot, and took it off and won't put it back on. There's no telling. This was a stupid, entirely avoidable situation that BSG found themselves in here. Their greed nearly ruined their entire game, and it still might have. There's probably plenty of people who have totally lost trust in Tarkov and won't stick around. I think there's a good chunk of players that are falling into that camp, and I think that's great. but there's still plenty of people that are going to play and support this game because they love the game. They might not love Nikita and they might not love the company behind it, but the game really hits for them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it does suck that no matter what Nikita and BSG did here, they are still going to be making tons and tons and tons of money from this. Like, they went through, a handful of days of being, made fun of and clowned on, but they're still going to end up making an absolute fucking ton of cash from charging $250 for this DLC. But yeah, anyway, that's where the whole Tarkov situation is at here. I do think Nikita should be in the conversation for stupidest person in the gaming industry right now. Tarkov is a massively popular game that he almost ruined. Like, straight up buried from this greed. So I think that is a very impressive feat that you don't see often. Games of this size don't usually collapse unless a competitor comes out and beats it, which right now isn't happening with Tarkov. It still has an absolute stranglehold on this genre. So it is pretty impressive just how bad of a decision this was, and how reluctant Nikita was to change it, or do anything at all to make the situation any better for themselves. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah.